The engine sputtered once, twice, then died completely. Paxton gripped the steering wheel of the luxury sedan, his knuckles going white. He glanced in the rearview mirror at his boss, Rhodes King, who was typing furiously on his phone, completely unaware they'd just stopped moving in the middle of Southside Chicago. This was bad. Very bad. Because in exactly 45 minutes, Rhodes was supposed to be at the grand opening of King Collective's newest location, Meridian, where he'd be expected to do what he'd been avoiding for 8 months. Taste the food. Sir, Paxton said carefully, using that particular tone he reserved for delivering bad news to a man who didn't tolerate incompetence. I'm terribly sorry, but I believe there's something wrong with the engine. Rhodes's fingers froze over his phone screen. His jaw tightened in that way that made grown men in boardrooms nervous. Slowly, deliberately, he looked up. We're stopped, Rhodes said. It wasn't a question. It was an observation delivered with the kind of deadly calm that suggested someone was about to be fired. Yes, sir, Paxton confirmed. In the middle of the street. Yes, sir. In a car I specifically asked you to service before I returned from Singapore. Paxton's British accent got a little thicker when he was stressed. To be fair, sir, you returned 3 weeks earlier than planned, and this particular vehicle has been in storage for 6 months while you were… Paxton. Yes, sir? Stop talking and fix it. Rhodes looked out the tinted window in frustration. 43 minutes now until he had to stand in front of Chicago's food elite, investors, and critics, and pretend to taste Chef Whitmore's new tasting menu. 43 minutes to figure out another excuse for why the great Rhodes King, owner of 7 high-end restaurants, couldn't actually eat at his own establishments. 8 months of this hell. 8 months of living on the blandest food he could cook himself. 8 months of excuses, near misses, and the constant terror that someone would discover his secret and destroy everything he'd built. He looked out of tinted window again, dragging out a sigh. That's when he saw her. A young woman wearing a bright yellow apron that said Dave's Soul Bowls in faded red letters. She was standing about 10 feet away, next to a food cart that had seen better days, and she was staring at his car like it was a gift from heaven wrapped in German engineering. Her eyes were wide, calculating. Rhodes recognized that look. It was the same look people got when they realized exactly how expensive his watch was. Great. Just great. Probably another gold digger thinking of how she could get access to his wealth. He watched with annoyance as Paxton got out of the car to pop the hood, and after a few minutes, Rhodes decided to come out and stretch his legs. Ashley Dave couldn't believe her luck. Well, technically, she could believe it, because her luck had been trash for the past 4 months. Ever since her father Julian had his stroke and she'd taken over his legendary noodle cart. Ever since customers started walking past her like she was invisible because she wasn't the great Julian Dave. Ever since the medical bills started piling up higher than her hope of ever paying them. But this beautiful, a clearly expensive as hell luxury car breaking down right in front of her cart on a Tuesday afternoon when she'd only made $37? This was divine intervention. This was fate. This was her shot. Juno, I need you to see this, Ashley whispered into her phone, not taking her eyes off the car. Her best friend Juno's voice crackled through the speaker. Girl, I'm at work. I got a patient with hemorrhoids the size of… There's a luxury car broken down in front of my cart, Ashley interrupted, because she did not need that visual. So, luxury car means luxury money, which means potential luxury customer. Ash, you can't just ambush people because they're rich. Ashley grinned. Watch me. She hung up before Juno could talk sense into her. Because Sense wasn't going to pay the $3,000 physical therapy bill due next week. The driver, a white guy in an actual chauffeur uniform like this was a whole movie, rushed out of the car looking panicked. He popped the hood and stared at the engine like it had personally betrayed him. Then the back door opened, and Ashley forgot how to breathe. The man who stepped out was… Lord have mercy. He was tall, not regular tall. NBA tall. At least 6'5", with shoulders so broad they blocked out the sun. He was completely bald, smooth, polished, perfect, and his dark brown skin looked like expensive chocolate. He wore a charcoal gray suit that probably cost more than her entire cart, and when he removed his sunglasses, Ashley saw the most intense brown eyes she'd ever seen in her life. And he also looked annoyed enough to commit murder. But even angry, when his face shifted, Ashley caught a glimpse of dimples that made her stomach flip. "Oh, he's mad," Ashley muttered to herself. "That's the somebody's getting fired face." She heard the driver, Paxton, speaking urgently. "Sir, I'll call for a mechanic and backup vehicle immediately. You'll still make the Meridian opening, I promise." "You have 40 minutes to make that happen," the bald god said, his voice deep and commanding. Meridian. Ashley knew that name. It was that fancy new restaurant opening in the Gold Coast, the one owned by some billionaire chef guy. Wait. Ashley's eyes widened as recognition finally clicked. Rhodes King, owner of King Collective, the biggest restaurant group in Chicago. She'd seen his face in magazines at her doctor's office. On Chicago's most eligible bachelor. The man with the golden palate. Culinary genius turned business mogul. And he was standing 10 feet from her cart, looking like he wanted to set something on fire. This wasn't just a rich customer. This was the rich customer. Ashley checked her reflection in the side of her cart, made sure her 2 ponytails were still cute, and put on her best customer service smile. Time to shoot her shot. Rhodes was calculating how quickly he could fire Paxton and still make it to Meridian when he heard her voice. "Excuse me." Rhodes turned toward the voice and saw the woman from the food cart approaching. Up close, she was stunning. Curvy in all the ways that made a man look twice, with warm brown skin and honey-colored eyes that sparkled with something between mischief and desperation. Her hair was styled in 2 high ponytails that should have looked childish, but somehow made her look adorable. She was also violating his personal space with the confidence of someone who had nothing left to lose. "Can I help you?" Rhodes asked in the tone that usually made people step back. She did not step back. "Actually, I think I can help you," Ashley said, gesturing toward her cart with a smile that could sell ice to Antarctica. "I couldn't help but notice your car trouble, and I thought, that poor man is probably stressed, probably hungry, probably needs something delicious to turn his day around." Rhodes stared at her. "I'm fine." "You sure? Because your driver looks like he's about to cry, and you've got that vein in your forehead that says you're 3 inconveniences away from a stroke." Paxton made a choking sound, but Rhodes's eye twitched. "Miss Ashley. Ashley Dave. And this," she patted her cart like it was a beloved pet, "is Dave's Soul Bowls, home of the best noodle bowls on the South Side. My daddy's been running this cart for 26 years. People come from all over Chicago for his cooking." Rhodes had no time for this. "That's wonderful. I'm not interested. You haven't even heard the menu yet." "I don't need to. We've got the Dave's special, egg noodles, blackened chicken, peppers, onions, and a sauce that'll make you forget your troubles. We've got the veggie delight for the health conscious. We've got the spicy soul burner for people who like to feel alive." "Miss Dave?" Rhodes interrupted, his patience thinner than the gold chain she wore around her neck. "I appreciate the sales pitch, but I don't eat street food." The irony wasn't lost on him. Rhodes King, who couldn't eat anything except his own bland cooking, turning down food from a cart. Ashley's smile didn't falter, but something flickered in her eyes. Hurt, maybe. Or anger. "That's fine," she said, her voice a little tighter. "Most people who drive cars like yours don't." She turned to walk away, and Rhodes should have let her go. Should have gotten back in the car, made it to Meridian, and found another excuse to avoid tasting the food. But then she muttered under her breath, "Even though they're missing out on the best food in their sad, bougie lives?" Rhodes's eyebrow raised. "Excuse me?" Ashley spun around, and apparently, she decided to stop playing nice. "Look, sir, Mr. King." Oh, so she knew who he was. "I get it. You're rich, you're important. You own half the restaurants in Chicago. You've got places to be and people to fire. But your car's not moving anytime soon, and I'm just trying to make a living. So how about this? 1 free sample. Tiny bowl. If you don't like it, I'll leave you alone forever. If you do like it, you pay whatever you think it's worth. Deal? No? Why not? Because I said no. That's not a reason. It's the only reason you need." Ashley put her hands on her hips, and Rhodes noticed they were shaking slightly. This wasn't just about making a sale. This girl was desperate. "Please," she said, and the playfulness dropped from her voice completely. "Just one taste. That's all I'm asking." Rhodes looked at her, really looked at her. The worn apron, the cart that needed new paint, the hope and fear warring in her honey-brown eyes. And something made him pause. Maybe it was the desperation he recognized because he'd been desperate himself for 8 months. Maybe it was the way she was fighting for something despite terrible odds. Maybe it was temporary insanity brought on by stress. Or maybe it was the tiny, impossible hope that whispered, "What if this time is different?" It wouldn't be. It never was. But Paxton was on the phone with the mechanic saying 30 minutes minimum. Rhodes had time to kill. And this girl was looking at him like he held her whole world in his hands. "Fine," he heard himself say. "One bite." Ashley's entire face lit up like Christmas morning. "Really?" "One bite," Rhodes repeated firmly. "Then you leave me alone." "Deal." She practically sprinted back to her cart, and Rhodes watched her move with efficient grace, pulling out ingredients, firing up her portable stove. Paxton appeared at his elbow. "Sir, are you sure that's wise, given your condition?" "It's one bite, Paxton. I'll spit it out discreetly if I need to." "And if you can't control the reaction?" Rhodes had considered that. The nausea usually hit within seconds. If it was bad, he'd have to leave quickly, maybe claim a phone call. Just another lie in an 8-month string of lies. 5 minutes later, Ashley returned with a small bowl that smelled incredible. Rhodes's stomach, which had been trained to reject anything he didn't cook himself, actually growled. "Traitor." "Dave's special sample size," Ashley announced, holding it out like an offering. "The sauce is my daddy's secret recipe. 4 generations of flavor right there." Rhodes took the bowl. It was warm in his hands, and the noodles were perfectly cooked from what he could see. The chicken blackened just right. The vegetables still had a slight crunch. It looked good. It smelled better. But his condition didn't care about looks or smells. Rhodes lifted the fork to his lips, and Ashley held her breath. Here it comes, Rhodes thought. The nausea, the rejection, the humiliation. He took a bite. And nothing. No nausea. No tightening in his throat. No immediate urge to spit it out. Rhodes chewed slowly, waiting for the inevitable revulsion. It didn't come. Instead, he tasted butter and spice and something smoky. The noodles were silky, the chicken tender, the sauce rich without being heavy. It was delicious, and his body was accepting it. Rhodes's hand trembled slightly as he took another bite. Then another. What the hell was happening? You like it?" Ashley asked hopefully. Rhodes couldn't speak. He just kept eating, bite after bite, until the sample bowl was empty. 8 months. 8 months of bland rice and unseasoned chicken breast. 8 months of cooking his own tasteless meals because anything else made him sick. 8 months of losing weight, losing his mind, losing hope. And this girl with the ponytails and the worn apron had just fed him like it was nothing. Ashley was staring at him with wide eyes. "You ate it all." Rhodes looked down at the empty bowl in his hands like it had appeared there by magic. "Who taught you to cook?" he asked, his voice rougher than intended. "My daddy," Ashley said proudly. "Julian Dave. He's been cooking soul food since before I was born. Everything I know, I learned from him." "Where is he now?" Something painful crossed her face. "Physical therapy. He had a stroke 4 months ago. I've been running the cart while he recovers." Rhodes nodded slowly, his mind racing. This was impossible. Medically, psychologically impossible. He'd seen 3 therapists, 2 psychiatrists, and a hypnotist. Nothing had worked. But this girl's food? "Sir, the backup car is here," Paxton called out, sounding shocked that Rhodes had actually eaten something. Rhodes looked up and saw a black SUV pulling up behind his broken sedan. He should leave, should thank her for the food and never look back. But he couldn't. Because for the first time in 8 months, He'd eaten something that didn't make him want to die, and he needed to understand why. Rhodes pulled out his wallet and extracted 5 crisp $100 bills. Ashley's eyes went huge. "Sir, that was just a sample. Like, free?" "I know what a sample is," Rhodes said. "Consider this payment for your time and skill." "That's $500. I can count. For a sample bowl that cost maybe $3 to make." "Miss Dave," Rhodes said, and something in his voice made her spine straighten. "Do you want the money or not?" Ashley snatched those bills so fast she almost gave herself whiplash. "I want the money. I definitely want the money, thank you. Thank you so much, Mr. King." Rhodes's lips twitched. It wasn't quite a smile, but it was close. "I'll be back," he said. Ashley blinked. "What?" "Tomorrow, same time. Have another bowl ready." Then he turned and walked toward the waiting SUV, leaving Ashley standing there with $500 and a whole lot of confusion. Paxton loaded him into the car, his expression carefully neutral. "Sir, should I ask?" "No," Rhodes said firmly. "And Paxton?" "Yes, sir?" "Find out everything you can about Julian Dave and his daughter Ashley. Background, financials, everything." "May I ask why?" Rhodes looked out the window at the food cart, at the girl who'd just done the impossible. "Because she might be the answer to a problem I thought was unsolvable." The pattern continued for a week. Every day at noon, Rhodes King's SUV would pull up to Ashley's cart. Every day he'd order 2 bowls. Every day he'd pay Ashley $500 and disappear into his car. By day 7, Ashley had made $3,500. She'd paid down a chunk of her father's medical bills and become a minor celebrity on the South Side. "Yo, Ashley," Mark from the barbershop called out as Rhodes's SUV pulled up on day 8. "That's your rich boyfriend again?" "He's not my boyfriend," Ashley shouted back, but she was grinning. "Then why he keep coming back?" he asked, eyes twinkling. "Good food only keep a man coming for so long. Then he come for something else." Ashley felt her cheeks heat. "It's just business." But even as she said it, she didn't quite believe it. Because the way Rhodes looked at her when she handed him his food, that wasn't business. That was something else entirely. On day 8, Rhodes broke the pattern. He got out of the SUV and approached the cart as usual, but when Ashley reached for her ingredients, he held up a hand. "Not today," he said. On Ashley's heart sank. "Oh, okay. Did you get tired of the food?" "No." Rhodes seemed to be having some kind of internal debate. "Miss Dave, I have a proposition for you." "What kind of proposition?" "I'd like to hire you as my personal chef." Ashley blinked. "I'm sorry, what?" "Personal chef. You'd prepare my meals. I'll pay you $15,000 per week." The world tilted sideways. 15. That's $60,000 a month. Yes? For cooking? Yes? Ashley's mind was spinning. $60,000 a month would pay off her father's medical bills in 1 month, would save the cart, would change everything. But nothing in life came this easy. "Why?" she asked suspiciously. "Why would you pay someone that much to cook for you? You own 7 restaurants with world-class chefs. What's the catch?" Rhodes's jaw tightened. For a moment, Ashley thought he might not answer. Then he said very quietly, "Let's just say I have specific dietary needs that you seem uniquely qualified to meet." That's the vaguest answer I've ever heard. It's the only answer I'm prepared to give right now. Ashley crossed her arms, studying him. There was something he wasn't saying, something big. "And if I say no?" "Then I'll continue buying 2 bowls a day and we'll both pretend this conversation never happened." She should say no. Taking a job from a mysterious billionaire who wouldn't explain why he needed her specifically was basically the plot of every thriller where the girl ended up dead. But $60,000 a month, her father's medical bills, their future. "I can't abandon my daddy's cart," Ashley said. "Yes, this business is his legacy." "You're barely making money," Rhodes pointed out. Not cruelly, just factually. "I've been watching. Without my purchases, you make maybe $50 to $70 a day. That's not sustainable." It hurt because it was true. What if I work mornings for you and run the cart in the afternoons? Ashley offered. Rhodes considered this. I only eat lunch. Mornings work fine. And I can quit anytime? Anytime. And you'll eventually tell me the real reason you're doing this? Rhodes's intense brown eyes met hers. Eventually. Ashley bit her lip, thinking. This was crazy. This was suspicious. This was possibly the worst decision she'd ever make, or the best. Can I think about it? She asked. Rhodes's expression softened slightly. Of course. Not take all the time you need. He pulled out his phone and typed something, then showed her the screen. That's my number. Text me when you've decided. Ashley stared at the string of digits, her heart pounding. I should warn you, though, Rhodes added, turning back to his SUV. I'm not an easy man to work for. I have certain standards, and there are complications you should be aware of. What kind of complications? The kind we'll discuss if you accept. That's super ominous. Those intense brown eyes fixed on her again, and this time Ashley saw something in them that looked like loneliness. Miss Dave, I'm offering you more money than most people make in a year. I'm not going to pretend it comes without strings, but I promise you, I'll never ask you to do anything that compromises your integrity or safety. This is about food. Nothing more. Ashley believed him, which was either her instincts being right or her bank account doing the thinking. I'll let you know, she said. Rhodes nodded and left. That evening, Ashley visited her father at his apartment. Julian lived alone now, had refused to move in with Ashley despite her protests, with a home health aide who came twice a day. He was sitting in his recliner watching a cooking show when Ashley arrived, and his face lit up at the sight of her. Baby girl, what brings you by? Ashley sat on the couch and told him everything. The daily visits, the money, the job offer. Julian listened carefully, his good hand stroking his chin. This Mr. King, he said when she finished. You trust him? I think so. I don't really know him, but he's never been anything but respectful to me. And Daddy, like $60,000 a month. I could pay off all your medical bills. I could save the cart. You could live your own life, Julian interrupted gently. Ashley's throat tightened. Daddy. Ashley, I love that you took over the cart for me. Love that you've been fighting to keep my dream alive. But baby, you're 24 years old. You should be chasing your own dreams, not sacrificing yourself for mine. The cart is my dream too. Is it? Or is it just what you think you're supposed to do? Ashley didn't have an answer for that. Julian reached out and took her hand. If this job helps you, if it gives you opportunities, if it makes you happy, then take it. The cart will still be there. And if it's not, that's okay too. Legacy ain't about a food cart, baby. It's about the love and skill you carry with you wherever you go. Tears pricked Ashley's eyes. When did you get so wise? Had a lot of time to think lately, Julian said with his lopsided smile. Now go call that man and tell him yes before he finds somebody else. That night, Ashley stared at Rhodes's number in her phone. Finally, at 11:47 p.m., she typed, Mr. King, this is Ashley Dave. I've thought about your offer and I have conditions. 1. I work mornings only. 2. I keep my cart running afternoons. 3. I can quit anytime, no questions asked. 4. You tell me eventually why you're really doing this. If you agree, I accept. She hit send before she could chicken out. Her phone buzzed 30 seconds later. Agreed. Report to this address tomorrow at 8 a.m. Dress comfortably. We need to discuss the full scope of your role and the confidentiality it requires. RK. An address in the Gold Coast followed. Confidentiality? Oh boy, Ashley whispered. What am I getting myself into? The next morning, yet Ashley stood outside Rhodes's building, a luxury high-rise that made her feel severely underdressed in her jeans and Dave's Soul Bowls t-shirt. The doorman checked his tablet and directed her to the penthouse. When the elevator doors opened, Paxton was waiting. Miss Dave, right on time. Mr. King is in his office. Follow me. The penthouse was massive and intimidating. Floor-to-ceiling windows, expensive furniture, and an emptiness that made it feel more like a museum than a home. Paxton led her to an office where Rhodes sat behind a mahogany desk, typing on his laptop. He looked up when she entered, and Ashley was struck again by how devastatingly handsome he was. "Focus, Ashley." "Miss Dave, thank you for coming." Rhodes stood and gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Please sit, but we have things to discuss before you start." Ashley sat, suddenly nervous. Rhodes closed his laptop and leaned forward, his intense brown eyes locked on hers. "What I'm about to tell you stays between us. Do you understand? No one, not your father, not your friends, no one, can know." "Okay. I need your word, Ashley." The use of her first name sent a shiver through her. "You have it." Rhodes nodded, seeming to gather himself for something difficult. 8 months ago, something happened to me that changed everything. I developed a condition, psychological, medical, they're not entirely sure, where I cannot eat food prepared by other people. Ashley's eyes widened. "The moment I try," Rhodes continued, "my body rejects it. Immediate nausea, sometimes vomiting. It's severe enough that I haven't been able to eat at my own restaurants, attend business dinners, or function normally in an industry built on food." "Oh my God," Ashley breathed. "Do you understand what this means?" Rhodes asked, his voice tight with controlled emotion. "I own King Collective, 7 high-end restaurants. My brand is built on having the most distinguished palate in Chicago. I'm supposed to personally approve every menu, taste every signature dish, ensure quality control." Understanding crashed over Ashley like a wave. "But you can't," she whispered. "I can't," Rhodes confirmed. "For 8 months, I've been living on the blandest food I can cook myself. I've been making excuses, faking quality issues, avoiding public events. I've been lying to everyone, investors, staff, critics, my own girlfriend, because if word gets out..." He didn't finish, but he didn't need to. "It would destroy you," Ashley said. "It would destroy everything I've built. How can we trust a restaurant owner who won't eat his own food?" That's what they'd say. Investors would pull out, competitors would attack, customers would lose confidence. I'd become a joke. Ashley's mind was racing. "But you ate my food." "You're the first person whose cooking I've been able to eat since this started," Rhodes said, and there was something raw in his voice. "The only person. I've tried everything. Therapy, medication, hypnosis. Nothing worked. Until you." "Why me?" "I don't know. But Ashley, you're not just cooking for me. You're saving my life, my career, everything." The weight of that statement settled over her like a blanket. "That's why the $60,000 a month," she said slowly. "That's why the confidentiality. That's why I need you to understand. This isn't just a job. You're the only thing standing between me and complete ruin." Ashley sat back, processing. Rhodes King wasn't just some rich guy who liked her food. He was desperate. He was vulnerable. He was trusting her with a secret that could destroy him. "Does anyone else know?" Ashley asked. "Paxton, my head of security. That's it." "Not even your girlfriend?" Something flickered across Rhodes' face. "Especially not her." "Why not?" "Because Sienna can't keep a secret to save her life, and she doesn't need to know my weaknesses." That was an interesting way to describe a relationship. "She's going to want to meet me," Ashley said. "If you suddenly have a personal chef, she'll be curious." "I know, which is why we need to establish boundaries now. As far as anyone else is concerned, you're simply my chef. Nothing more. They don't need to know about my condition." "What do I say when people ask why you need a personal chef when you own restaurants full of chefs?" "Tell them I have specific dietary requirements for my training regimen." Ashley raised an eyebrow. "Training regimen?" "I box, it's plausible." "Fair enough." "So let me get this straight," Ashley said. "I cook for you Monday through Friday, mornings only. I tell no one about your condition. I meet your girlfriend and pretend everything is normal. And in exchange, you pay me $60,000 a month." "Correct." "But you can't," she whispered. "I can't," Rhodes confirmed. "For 8 months, I've been living on the blandest food I can cook myself. I've been making excuses, faking quality issues, avoiding public events. I've been lying to everyone, investors, staff, critics, my own girlfriend, because if word gets out, he didn't finish, but he didn't need to. It would destroy you, Ashley said. It would destroy everything I've built. How can we trust a restaurant owner who won't eat his own food? That's what they'd say. Investors would pull out, competitors would attack, customers would lose confidence. I'd become a joke. Ashley's mind was racing. But you ate my food. You're the first person whose cooking I've been able to eat since this started, Rhodes said, and there was something raw in his voice. The only person. I've tried everything. Therapy, medication, hypnosis. Nothing worked. Until you. Why me? I don't know. But Ashley, you're not just cooking for me. You're saving my life, my career, everything. The weight of that statement settled over her like a blanket. That's why the $60,000 a month, she said slowly. That's why the confidentiality. That's why I need you to understand. This isn't just a job. You're the only thing standing between me and complete ruin. Ashley sat back, processing. Rhodes King wasn't just some rich guy who liked her food. He was desperate. He was vulnerable. He was trusting her with a secret that could destroy him. Does anyone else know? Ashley asked. Paxton, my head of security, that's it. Not even your girlfriend? Something flickered across Rhodes' face. Especially not her. Why not? Because Sienna can't keep a secret to save her life. And she doesn't need to know my weaknesses. That was an interesting way to describe a relationship. She's going to want to meet me, Ashley said. If you suddenly have a personal chef, she'll be curious. I know, which is why we need to establish boundaries now. As far as anyone else is concerned, you're simply my chef. Nothing more. They don't need to know about my condition. What do I say when people ask why you need a personal chef when you own restaurants full of chefs? Tell them I have specific dietary requirements for my training regimen. Ashley raised an eyebrow. Training regimen? I box. It's plausible. Fair enough. So let me get this straight, Ashley said. I cook for you Monday through Friday, mornings only. I tell no one about your condition. I meet your girlfriend and pretend everything is normal. And in exchange, you pay me $60,000 a month. Correct. And eventually, you'll tell me what caused this condition in the first place? Rhodes's jaw tightened. When I'm ready. Ashley studied him. This beautiful, powerful, wounded man who was trusting her with everything. Okay, she said. I'm in. Relief flooded Rhodes's features. Thank you. But Mr. King, Rhodes, you should know something. What's that? I'm going to do more than just cook for you. I'm going to make you love food again. Rhodes's dimples appeared for the first time, and Ashley's heart did a dangerous flip. I'm counting on it, Miss Dave. You! So Rhodes has a girlfriend, and Ashley just agreed to keep his life-destroying secret. This is about to get messy, y'all. Comment Team Ashley if you're already rooting for her to win this man's heart. And smash that subscribe button because Sienna is about to make Ashley's life hell. Things are heating up in this kitchen, and I am here for the drama. Don't miss what happens next. For the first 3 days, working for Rhodes King was like stepping into a dream Ashley didn't know she was allowed to have. His penthouse kitchen was a chef's paradise. Professional-grade everything, ingredients that cost more than her weekly card earnings, and the freedom to cook whatever her heart desired. But the best part? Watching Rhodes eat. On her first official day, Ashley had prepared her father's recipe for shrimp and grits with a spicy andouille cream sauce. She'd plated it carefully, nervously, and brought it to Rhodes's home office where he was on a video call. He'd held up one finger, wait, and continued talking about profit margins and expansion opportunities while Ashley stood there feeling awkward. Then he'd ended the call, looked down at the plate she'd set before him, and gone completely still. Is something wrong? Ashley asked, worried she'd messed up. Rhodes picked up his fork slowly, like he was afraid the food might disappear. He took a bite, closed his eyes, and Ashley watched this powerful, intimidating man's entire face soften into something that looked almost like relief, like gratitude, like he'd been wandering in a desert and she'd just offered him water. When he opened his eyes, They were suspiciously bright. This is... Rhodes's voice was rough. Thank you. Those two words carried the weight of 8 months of suffering. Ashley felt her chest tighten with an emotion she couldn't quite name. You're welcome, she said softly. That became their routine. Ashley would cook, Rhodes would eat like every bite was precious. And slowly, so slowly Ashley almost didn't notice, they started talking. Not about his condition, not about the secret, about everything else. Why food? Rhodes asked on day 2 while eating her jerk chicken with coconut rice. Why did you choose to cook? Ashley shrugged, stirring a pot of collard greens for his dinner prep. I didn't choose it. It chose me. I grew up in that food cart. My daddy used to let me stand on a step stool and stir the sauce when I was 5. By 10, I was prepping vegetables. By 15, I could run the whole operation. Did you ever want to do something else? Sometimes, Ashley admitted. I got accepted to culinary school once, full scholarship. Rhodes looked up sharply. Why didn't you go? Because Daddy needed me. The cart was struggling and I couldn't just leave him. So I stayed. Do you regret it? Ashley considered the question. I used to. But now? I think everything happens for a reason. If I'd gone to culinary school, I wouldn't have been at that cart the day your fancy car broke down. Rhodes's dimples appeared. Fate? Or really bad car maintenance? He actually laughed, and the sound made Ashley's stomach do that stupid fluttery thing it had been doing more and more often. On day 5, Rhodes surprised her by coming into the kitchen while she was cooking instead of waiting in his office. What are you making? He asked, leaning against the counter. And Ashley tried not to notice how good he looked in casual clothes, dark jeans and a fitted black t-shirt that showed off his muscular arms. Focus, Ashley. Oxtails, she said, checking her braising pot. With butter beans and rice, comfort food. My mother used to make oxtails, Rhodes said quietly. It was the first personal thing he'd shared that wasn't about business or his condition. Yeah? Ashley encouraged. Every Sunday, she'd start them in the morning and let them cook all day. The whole house would smell like home. Past tense. She passed? 10 years ago. Cancer. I'm sorry. Rhodes nodded, his eyes distant. She's the one who taught me to cook. Said a man who can't feed himself can't take care of anyone else. She sounds wise. She was. She would have liked you. The words hung in the air between them. I'm charged with something Ashley didn't want to examine too closely. Why? Ashley asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Rhodes's intense brown eyes met hers. Because you cook like she did. With love. Not just skill, though you have that too, but with something else. Something that makes the food taste like it matters. Ashley's heart was doing Olympic-level gymnastics in her chest. It does matter, she said. Food is how we show love when words aren't enough. Rhodes held her gaze for a long moment, and Ashley felt the air between them thicken with an awareness that definitely crossed the boss-employee line. Then his phone rang, shattering the moment. Rhodes checked the screen and his expression shifted to something Ashley couldn't quite read. Resignation, maybe, or dread. I need to take this, he said, Ike stepping out of the kitchen. Ashley heard him answer, Sienna. Yes, I know we were supposed to. I've been busy. Tomorrow night. Fine. Right. The girlfriend. The one Ashley kept forgetting existed because Rhodes never mentioned her and she never came around. Ashley focused very hard on her oxtails and pretended her chest didn't feel tight. That evening, as Ashley was packing up to leave, Paxton appeared in the kitchen doorway. Miss Dave, Mr. King wanted me to inform you that his girlfriend will be visiting tomorrow afternoon around 2. He'd like you to prepare tea and refreshments. Oh, sure, no problem. Paxton hesitated. He also wanted me to remind you about the confidentiality agreement. I remember. I'm just the chef with the special dietary requirements story. Correct. Paxton's expression softened slightly. For what it's worth, Miss Dave, you've done more for him in 5 days than anyone has managed in 8 months. He's eating properly again. He's less stressed. You're good for him. Ashley felt warmth spread through her chest. Thanks, Paxton. Just thought you should know, before you meet her. There was something in his tone that made Ashley ask, "What's she like, Sienna?" Paxton's face went carefully neutral. "She's very polished, very aware of social standing, very concerned with appearances." That was the most diplomatic way Ashley had ever heard someone say, "She's a piece of work." "Can't wait," Ashley muttered. The next afternoon, Ashley was arranging tea sandwiches and petit fours on Rhodes's dining room table when she heard the front door open and a voice that could cut glass. "Rhodes, darling." "I'm here." Ashley peeked around the corner and saw a woman who looked like she'd stepped off a magazine cover. Sienna Vale was stunning. Tall, model-thin, with long straight hair that had to be professionally maintained. She wore a white designer pantsuit that probably cost more than Ashley's rent and carried a purse that Ashley recognized from a billboard. Her mess. Something ridiculous like 5 figures. She was also looking around Rhodes's penthouse like she owned it. Rhodes appeared from his office, and Sienna immediately latched onto his arm. "Baby, I've missed you. You've been so distant lately." Sienna's voice had a little girl quality that made Ashley's teeth hurt. "You're not avoiding me, are you?" "I've been busy, Sienna. You know that." "Too busy for your girlfriend?" Sienna pouted. Actually pouted. We haven't had dinner together in 2 weeks." "I told you I'm focusing on my training regimen. The nutritionist has me on a strict—" "Oh, speaking of which," Sienna's eyes lit up. "Where's this new chef I've been hearing about?" "Here we go." Ashley stepped into the dining room with her best professional smile. "That would be me. Ashley Dave." Sienna's eyes swept over Ashley from head to toe, taking in her casual jeans, her Dave's Soul Bowls t-shirt, her 2 ponytails. The judgment was instant and obvious. "Oh," Sienna said, her smile not reaching her eyes. "You're so cute and young." 24, Ashley said cheerfully. "Practically a baby." Sienna laughed, a sound like wind chimes made of ice. "Rhodes, she's adorable. Where did you find her?" "Miss Dave came highly recommended," Rhodes said, his expression unreadable. "Her father ran one of the most successful food operations on the South Side." "The South Side," Sienna repeated, like he'd said, "a garbage dump." "How colorful." Ashley's smile stayed firmly in place, but her eyes narrowed slightly. "I've prepared afternoon tea. Please have a seat." As Sienna settled into a chair, she immediately started rearranging Ashley's carefully plated sandwiches. "These are so rustic," Sienna said, which was clearly not a compliment. "Rhodes, darling, are you sure this is the kind of food you should be eating? What about your image? You're Rhodes King. You should have a Michelin-trained chef, not someone who learned to cook at a food cart." Ashley felt her jaw tighten. Rhodes noticed. "Sienna, Ashley's cooking is exactly what I need right now." "But surely for someone of your caliber." "Her cooking is perfect," Rhodes said firmly, his eyes meeting Ashley's. "I wouldn't change a thing." Something warm bloomed in Ashley's chest. Sienna's perfectly made-up face tightened almost imperceptibly. "Of course, darling. I'm just looking out for you." She turned to Ashley with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "You'll have to give me the recipe for these cucumber sandwiches. I'm sure my chef would love to try making them." "They're pretty simple," Ashley said sweetly. "Just requires good ingredients and actually caring about what you're making." Rhodes coughed to cover what might have been a laugh. Sienna's smile became even more brittle. "Well, I'm sure you do your best with what you know." Over the next 30 minutes, Ashley learned everything she needed to know about Sienna Vale. She name-dropped constantly. She talked about expensive restaurants and exclusive clubs. She monopolized Rhodes's attention while simultaneously checking her phone every 3 minutes. She asked Rhodes about business deals and investment opportunities with a casual greed that made Ashley's skin crawl. And she kept making little comments clearly designed to put Ashley in her place. "Rhodes, you should bring your chef to the charity gala next month. I'm sure she's never seen anything like the Palmer House ballroom." "Ashley, do you shop at Target? I love their athleisure line. So affordable." "It must be so quaint, working with just basic ingredients. Rhodes's restaurants use such exotic things. You probably haven't even heard of half of them." Ashley maintained her professional smile and said nothing, but Rhodes was looking more and more uncomfortable. Finally, Sienna stood. Well, I should go. I have a fitting for the gala dress. Rhodes, you'll pick me up at 7 on Friday? Friday? Rhodes looked confused. The art gallery opening? We've had it planned for a month? Rhodes's jaw tightened. Sienna, I told you I can't do public events right now. My training schedule? Your training schedule, Sienna interrupted, her voice sharp, has been your excuse for everything lately. No dinners, no events, no quality time. I'm starting to think you're avoiding me. I'm not. Then prove it. Friday, 7 o'clock. Or I'm going to start wondering if there's another reason you don't want to be seen with me. It wasn't a request. It was a threat. Rhodes's expression hardened. Fine, 7 o'clock. Sienna's smile returned, triumphant. She kissed his cheek, leaving a lipstick mark. That's my man. Oh, and Ashley? Ashley looked up from clearing the tea service. Yes? Make sure Rhodes eats properly before Friday. I need him looking his best for the photos. Like he was a show dog she was entering in a competition. After Sienna left, the penthouse felt 20 degrees warmer and infinitely more breathable. Rhodes wiped the lipstick off his cheek with barely concealed irritation. I apologize for her behavior, he said to Ashley. She can be intense. Intense, Ashley repeated. That's one word for it. She's not always like that. Ashley raised an eyebrow. You sure about that? Rhodes opened his mouth to defend his girlfriend, then seemed to think better of it. She's been stressed lately. Uh-huh. Her family is very prominent. There are expectations. Mm-hmm. Ashley, just say what you're thinking. I'm thinking, Ashley said carefully, that you're a grown man who can date whoever he wants. And I'm just the chef. But if I was dating someone who talked to my employees the way she talked to me, and talked about me the way she talks about you, like you're an accessory to her lifestyle, I'd be asking some questions. Rhodes studied her face. You don't hold back, do you? You're paying me to cook, not to lie. Those dimples appeared again. Fair enough. Ashley started to leave, then paused. Rhodes? Yes? For what it's worth? You deserve someone who loves you for you, not for what you can do for their image. She left before he could respond, but she felt his eyes on her all the way to the elevator. Over the next week, a pattern emerged. Sienna started showing up at the penthouse unannounced, always when Ashley was cooking, always with some excuse about just being in the neighborhood, always watching Ashley like a hawk watches a mouse. On Tuesday, she arrived while Ashley was preparing lunch. Oh, you're still here, Sienna said, like Ashley was a stain that wouldn't come out. Still cooking, Ashley replied cheerfully. Rhodes's lunch isn't ready yet. You know, I was thinking, Sienna said, examining her perfect manicure. Rhodes really should consider upgrading his chef situation. I know several culinary school graduates who would kill for this position, people with proper training and credentials. That's nice of you to think of him. I'm always thinking of Rhodes. That's what a good girlfriend does. Sienna's eyes locked on Ashley. We take care of our men, make sure nothing inappropriate happens. There it was. There's the real reason for these visits. I'm sure Rhodes appreciates having someone looking out for him, Ashley said, her voice sweet as pie. I'm sure he does. It's important to know who belongs in his life and who's just temporary. Ashley smiled. You know what's funny? Rhodes told me the same thing about his ingredients. Some things are temporary, trendy, flashy, look good on the surface. But the real magic? That comes from the stuff that's authentic. The stuff that might not look fancy but has substance. Sienna's eyes narrowed. Are you comparing me to food? Oh no, Ashley said innocently. I would never. Food actually nourishes people. Rhodes walked in at that exact moment. Sienna, I didn't know you were coming. I wanted to surprise you, baby. Sienna's tone shifted instantly to sugar sweet. And I wanted to make sure your chef was taking good care of you. She is, Rhodes said, his eyes meeting Ashley's with something that looked almost like amusement. Ashley's cooking has been exactly what I needed. Sienna's smile tightened. Well, I'm sure it's fine for everyday meals, But Rhodes, for the gala on Friday, we should eat somewhere proper beforehand. Alinea, perhaps? Or... I can't eat out before public events, Rhodes said. You know that. My dietary requirements are ridiculous, Sienna snapped, her careful facade cracking. Honestly, Rhodes, this whole training regimen thing is getting old. You're making us miss out on everything. Sienna? No, I'm serious. Do you know how embarrassing it is to make excuses for why my boyfriend won't eat at restaurants? People are starting to talk. Ashley quietly excused herself, but she could still hear them arguing as she moved to the kitchen. People are talking? That's what you're worried about? Yes, image matters, Rhodes. You should understand that better than anyone. You own restaurants. Which is exactly why I need to maintain my current diet. I'm in the middle of developing a new menu concept that requires strict... Oh, stop it with the lies. You just don't want to spend time with me. Ashley focused on plating Rhodes's lunch while the argument continued. She felt uncomfortable hearing it, but the penthouse wasn't exactly soundproof. That's not fair, Sienna. Isn't it? You've been distant for months. You barely touch me anymore. You spend more time with your chef than with me. She's preparing my meals, Sienna. That's her job. Is that all she's doing? There was a dangerous silence. What exactly are you implying? Rhodes's voice had gone ice cold. I'm implying that maybe you're a little too comfortable with having a young, cute girl in your kitchen every day. You're out of line. Am I? Because from where I'm standing, it looks suspicious. Why her, Rhodes? Why this random girl from a food cart? What makes her so special? Ashley's hand stilled on the plate. That was a good question. One she'd been wondering herself. She's a talented chef who meets my specific dietary needs, Rhodes said tightly. Nothing more. Each word felt like a small knife to Ashley's chest, even though she knew it was the cover story. Then prove it, Sienna demanded. Fire her. Hire someone else. Someone older. Someone less... pretty. I'm not firing her because you're insecure. Insecure? I'm being rational. You're the one being shady. Ashley had heard enough. She finished plating, grabbed the dish, and walked it to Rhodes's office, deliberately avoiding the living room where World War III was happening. She set the plate on his desk and turned to leave. Ashley, wait. She turned to find Rhodes in the doorway, looking exhausted. I'm sorry you had to hear that, he said quietly. It's fine, not my business. She had no right to talk about you that way. She's your girlfriend. She's protective. I get it. Rhodes stepped closer, and Ashley's breath caught. She's wrong, you know, about why you're here. Is she, though? The words slipped out before Ashley could stop them. You hired me because I can do something no one else can. That's pretty special. That's not what I... Rhodes stopped, seeming to struggle with something. You're not just here because of my condition. No? No. You're here because you're talented, because you're passionate about food, because every meal you make tastes like you actually care about the person eating it. Ashley's heart was pounding. Rhodes, Sienna doesn't understand that. She doesn't understand a lot of things. They were standing close enough that Ashley could see the flecks of gold in his brown eyes, close enough that she could smell his cologne, something expensive and woodsy that made her want to lean in. This was dangerous. He had a girlfriend. You should eat your lunch before it gets cold, Ashley said, stepping back. Rhodes looked like he wanted to say something else, but just nodded. Thank you. And for everything. Ashley left the penthouse that day with her emotions in complete chaos. She was attracted to Rhodes. That much was obvious. But he was her boss. He had a girlfriend. And she was supposed to be professional. Girl, you are in trouble, Juno said that night when Ashley called to vent. I know. You're catching feelings for your billionaire boss. I know. Who has a girlfriend? I know, Juno. So what are you going to do about it? Ashley groaned into her pillow. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. I'm going to cook his food, collect my check, and mind my business. How's that working out for you? Terribly. He's so... He's smart and wounded, and he has these dimples, Juno. Dimples. Lord help us. And the way he looks at me when he eats my food, it's like... I don't even know how to describe it. Sounds steamy. You're so head over heels. But I can't do anything about it because of Sienna. The Ice Queen girlfriend? She's awful, Juno, like truly terrible. She treats him like an accessory and she's so fake and possessive. But she's still his girlfriend? But she's still his girlfriend, Ashley agreed miserably. So I just have to watch him be with someone who doesn't deserve him and pretend I don't care. Or, Juno said slowly, you could see how this plays out. Sometimes trash takes itself out, you know? What does that mean? It means girls like Sienna usually self-destruct. Just wait. Keep doing what you're doing. And if things change, be ready. Ashley didn't have to wait long. Y'all! The tension between Rhodes and Ashley is thick, and Sienna is spiraling. Comment Team Ashley if you think she should fight for Rhodes, and hit that subscribe button because Sienna's about to take things to a whole new level of crazy. You do not want to miss what happens next. The breaking point came on Friday. Rhodes was supposed to take Sienna to the art gallery opening. Ashley had prepared several ready-to-eat meals for the weekend and was getting ready to leave when Sienna showed up 2 hours early. Without Rhodes. He's not here, Ashley said, confused. I thought you were meeting him at 7. I need to talk to you, Sienna said, pushing past Ashley into the penthouse like she owned it. Woman to woman. Oh boy. Okay. Sienna turned to face her, arms crossed. I want you to quit. Ashley blinked. Excuse me? Quit, leave, find another job. I'll even help you. I know people in the industry who are hiring, but I want you away from Rhodes. Does Rhodes know you're here? Rhodes doesn't know what he needs right now, but I do, and he doesn't need some girl with a crush complicating his life. Ashley's cheeks heated. I don't have a… Please, Sienna cut her off. I see how you look at him. He's my boss. He's my boyfriend. Sienna's composure cracked completely. We've been together for 2 years. 2 years. And then you show up with your cute little ponytails and your soul food and suddenly he doesn't have time for me anymore? That's not my fault. Isn't it? You're here every day, cooking for him, talking to him, making him smile. Do you know how long it's been since he smiled at me like that? Ashley felt a flash of sympathy for Sienna despite everything. Maybe you should talk to him about that instead of threatening me. I'm not threatening you. I'm offering you a way out before this gets ugly. And if I say no? Sienna's eyes went cold. Then I'll make your life hell. I have connections, Ashley. I can destroy that sad little food cart of yours with one phone call. I can make sure no restaurant in Chicago will hire you. You can leave. Both women turned to find Rhodes standing in the doorway, his expression thunderous. Rhodes, baby, I heard everything, Rhodes said, his voice deadly quiet. You came to my home without my knowledge to threaten my employee? I wasn't threatening her. I was just… Get out. Rhodes, get out. Sienna's face crumpled. You're choosing her? Some random girl you've known for 2 weeks over me? I'm choosing to not tolerate someone who thinks it's acceptable to threaten people I care about. People I care about. Ashley's heart skipped. This is insane. Sienna's voice rose to a near shriek. You've been acting crazy for months, avoiding me, lying to me, hiding things from me, and now you're protecting her? Sienna, we're done. We've been done for a while, I just didn't want to admit it. You're breaking up with me? For her? I'm breaking up with you because you just showed me exactly who you are, and I don't like what I see. Sienna looked between Rhodes and Ashley, her face twisted with rage and hurt. You're going to regret this, both of you. She stormed out, slamming the door hard enough to rattle the windows. Silence filled the penthouse. Ashley couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't process what had just happened. Rhodes, she whispered, you broke up with her. Yes, because of me. Because of her behavior, Rhodes corrected. But yes, you were the catalyst. I can't be the reason you… Ashley? No. Ashley backed toward the door, grabbing her bag. This is wrong. You guys have been together for 2 years. You don't just throw that away because of some… Some what? Rhodes stepped closer, his intense eyes locked on hers. Some chef you hired 2 weeks ago. You're not just some chef. Yes, I am. That's exactly what I am. And now I'm the girl who broke up your relationship, and I won't. Ashley was rambling, panicking, feeling like the walls were closing in. I quit, she said suddenly. Rhodes froze. What? I quit. This is too much. Too complicated. I'm sorry about your condition. I really am. But I can't be the reason your life falls apart. Ashley, you're not. I'm sorry, Rhodes. I have to go. She practically ran to the elevator, tears stinging her eyes. Behind her, she heard Rhodes call her name, but she didn't stop. She couldn't. Because if she stopped, if she turned around and saw the look on his face, she might not have the strength to leave. And leaving was the right thing to do. Wasn't it? The next 2 weeks were the worst of Ashley's life. She threw herself back into the food cart full time, trying to forget about Rhodes King and his penthouse and the way he'd looked at her like she was the answer to every question he'd ever asked. At first, business was surprisingly good. Sale word had spread about that girl who cooks for Rhodes King, and people came out of curiosity. Ashley made decent money for about a week. Then things got weird. Customers started complaining, said they found things in their food, hair, dirt. And then, on day 12, a woman screamed that there was a roach in her noodles. Ashley's blood ran cold. That's impossible. My cart is spotless. I know what I saw, the woman shrieked, loud enough for everyone in a 3-block radius to hear. There was a roach. A roach. Within hours, the health department showed up. They found 3 more roaches. Dead ones, conveniently placed in locations that made it look like an infestation. Ashley's cart was shut down pending investigation. She stood on the sidewalk, watching inspectors seal her father's legacy with red tape. Oz felt her world crumble. This doesn't make sense, she told Juno later, crying in her apartment. I clean that cart every single day. I've never had bugs. Never. Could someone have planted them? Juno asked. Who would? Ashley stopped. Sienna's last words echoed in her mind. You're going to regret this. That vindictive? Ashley's phone rang. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but something made her pick up. Hello? Hello, Ashley. Sienna's voice was pure poison honey. How's business? Ashley's hand tightened on the phone. What did you do? Me? Nothing. I simply mentioned to a few friends that I'd heard some concerning things about hygiene standards at a certain food cart, and those friends might have decided to investigate for themselves. You planted those roaches. Did I? Can you prove it? Because from where I'm sitting, you just got shut down for health code violations. That's on you, sweetie. You're insane. I'm protective. There's a difference. I warned you what would happen if you didn't stay away from Rhodes. You didn't listen. I quit. I left. I did exactly what you wanted. And broke his heart in the process, Sienna hissed. Do you know what you did to him? He's barely eating again. He's miserable. All because you made him think he could have something he can't. Ashley's chest tightened. What are you talking about? Rhodes and I are getting back together. He called me yesterday, begging me to give him another chance. Said he made a mistake. That I was right about you all along. The words hit Ashley like a physical blow. I don't believe you. Believe what you want, but stay away from him. Or next time, it won't be just your cart I destroy. It'll be your father's medical care, your credit, your future. I have the resources and the motivation. Don't test me. Sienna hung up. Ashley sat there, phone in hand, shaking with rage and hurt and disbelief. Rhodes had called Sienna? He was getting back together with her? No, that didn't make sense. Not after everything. But what if it was true? Ashley looked at her father's hospital bills stacked on her coffee table. Looked at the eviction notice that had arrived yesterday because she couldn't make rent without her cart income. She'd lost everything. And for what? Ashley called her father, trying to hold back tears. Julian was doing physical therapy when she arrived at his apartment, his home health aide helping him with resistance exercises. At the moment he saw Ashley's face, he knew something was wrong. Baby girl, what happened? Ashley told him everything. The job, Rhodes, Sienna, the roaches, the shutdown, the threatening phone call. By the end, she was crying so hard she could barely breathe. I messed up, Daddy. I messed up everything. Julian pulled her into a one-armed hug, his left side still weak but his grip strong enough to anchor her. You didn't mess up nothing, he said firmly. That woman is evil, and evil people do evil things. But Ashley, you listen to me. Julian cupped her face with his good hand, making her look at him. You don't give up. You hear me? That's not how I raised you. You're a Dave. We don't let people break us. But Daddy, the cart. The cart is metal and wheels. You're the soul of it. And souls don't die easy. Ashley's phone rang again. Unknown number. She almost didn't answer, but Julian nodded. Take it, Ashley answered. Hello? Is this Ashley Dave? A woman's voice, official sounding. Yes? This is Linda Martinez from the Chicago Health Department. I'm calling about your food cart investigation. Ashley's stomach dropped. Yes? We've completed our preliminary review, and I wanted to inform you that we found some irregularities. What kind of irregularities? The roaches found in your cart were all the same species, German cockroaches, and they were all recently deceased, approximately 24 to 48 hours. We also found no evidence of an actual infestation. No eggs, no droppings, no nesting. It appears they were placed there deliberately. Hope flared in Ashley's chest. No, so you're saying? We're saying your cart will be reopened pending a final inspection. We also pulled your cart's inspection history. You've had perfect scores for 4 years. We don't believe this was a genuine health violation. Oh my God, thank you so much. We're also investigating who filed the complaints. Do you have any idea who might want to sabotage your business? Ashley thought about Sienna, about her connections and her threats. I might, Ashley said slowly, but I'd need proof. Well, if you think of anything, let us know. We take false reporting very seriously. After hanging up, Ashley felt something shift inside her. Sienna had messed with the wrong one. She dialed the number Sienna had called from. Sienna answered on the second ring. Well, calling to beg? Actually, Ashley said, her voice steady and cold, I'm calling to tell you something. Oh? What's that? I was trying to be respectful. I left Rhodes alone because I didn't want to be the other woman. I kept my distance because he was taken. But you know what? You just showed me exactly who you are. And now I'm done being nice. You want to make this a war? Fine. Let's go to war, because I'm going to show Rhodes exactly what kind of person you are. And when he sees the real you, the vindictive, manipulative, evil you, he's going to see the real me too. Someone who actually cares about him. Not just his money and status. Sienna laughed. You think you can compete with me? Please. I don't need to compete. I just need to be myself. And we'll see who he chooses. He already chose me, you stupid girl. He called me. He wants me back. Then you should have nothing to worry about, right? Ashley could hear Sienna's breath quicken with anger. Stay away from him, Sienna hissed. Or what? You'll plant more roaches? Threaten me again? Go ahead. I'm documenting everything now, including this call. The health department is very interested in who filed those false complaints. Silence. You recorded this? Every word. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to leave me alone. You're going to leave my cart alone. And you're going to let Rhodes make his own choices about who he wants in his life. And Sienna? What? May the best woman win. Ashley hung up, her hands shaking but her resolve solid as steel. Julian was grinning at her with pride. That's my girl. I can't believe I just did that. I can. You got that Dave fire in you. Ashley's phone rang again almost immediately. Rhodes. Her heart jumped into her throat. She answered. Hello? Ashley. His voice sounded rough, like he hadn't been sleeping. We need to talk. Rhodes, I can't. Please, just... Can I come see you? I don't think that's a good idea. Ashley, I haven't eaten in 2 weeks. I can't sleep. I can't think. I can't function without you. Her breath caught. Rhodes. And before you say anything, This isn't just about the food anymore. It stopped being about the food the first week you were here. You have a girlfriend? No, I don't. Sienna and I are done. Completely done. Whatever she told you was a lie. She said you called her begging. I called her to tell her to leave you alone after I heard she was harassing you. That's it. The only person I want is standing on the other end of this phone, and I need you to tell me there's a chance. Please. Ashley felt tears streaming down her face. Rhodes, I'm a mess. My cart got shut down. I can't pay my rent. Everything is falling apart. Then let me help. Let me be there. Come back, Ashley, please. Why? Why do you want me back so badly? There was a long pause. Then Rhodes said, very quietly, because somewhere between the first bowl of noodles and the last meal you made me, I fell in love with you. And I know it's fast and I know it's complicated, but it's true. I love you. Ashley Dave. Ashley's world stopped spinning. You, what? I love you. Your passion, your fire, the way you cook like every meal is a love letter, the way you stood up to Sienna, the way you make me feel like I'm more than just my money or my restaurants. And I don't want to lose that. I don't want to lose you. Ashley looked at her father, who was nodding encouragingly. Tell him, Julian mouthed. Ashley took a shaky breath. I fell for you too, even when I knew I shouldn't, even when I tried not to. I fell so hard, Rhodes. Then come back. Let me make this right. Let me help you with the cart, with your dad's bills, with everything. Not because you're my chef, because you're mine. Ashley laughed through her tears. That's very possessive. I'm aware. Is it working? Maybe. Ashley Dave, will you please come back to me? She looked around her tiny apartment, at her father smiling at her, at the future that suddenly looked bright again. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll come back. Thank God. Where are you? I'm coming to get you. Ashley gave him the address, and 30 minutes later there was a knock on her door. She opened it to find Rhodes King standing there, looking like he'd been through hell. Unshaven, tired, wearing sweatpants and a t-shirt instead of his usual expensive clothes. He'd never looked better. Hi, Ashley said. Hi. They stared at each other for a long moment. Then Rhodes stepped forward, cupped her face in his hands, and kissed her like she was oxygen and he'd been drowning. Ashley melted into him, her hands fisting in his shirt, kissing him back with everything she had. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Rhodes pressed his forehead to hers. I'm going to make you a deal, he said. What kind of deal? You come back, cook for me. Let me help you rebuild your cart, and we see where this goes. No more secrets, no more complications. Just you and me figuring this out together. What about Sienna? I'll handle Sienna. She won't bother you again, I promise. Ashley looked into his eyes and saw nothing but sincerity and love and hope. Okay, she said. Deal. Rhodes kissed her again, slower this time, sweeter. From the living room, Julian called out, Y'all gonna stand in the doorway all night, or is someone gonna introduce me to this man? Rhodes pulled back, suddenly looking nervous. Your father. Yep. I should probably make a good impression. Ashley grinned. Quit little late for that. He already knows everything. Everything? Everything. Rhodes took a deep breath. Okay, I can do this. You run a multi-million-dollar restaurant empire, but meeting my daddy makes you nervous? Your daddy is important to you. That makes him important to me. Ashley's heart melted completely. She took his hand and led him into the apartment where Julian was waiting. Daddy, this is Rhodes King. Rhodes, this is my father, Julian Dave. Julian looked Rhodes up and down, his expression unreadable. Then he smiled. So you're the man who's got my baby girl all twisted up. Rhodes stepped forward, offering his hand. Yes, sir, and I promise you, my intentions are completely honorable. Julian shook his hand firmly. They better be, because if you hurt her, I don't care how many billions you got, I'll find a way to hurt you back. Daddy, Ashley protested. I wouldn't expect anything less, sir, Rhodes said seriously. Ashley is She's everything to me. I'll spend every day proving I deserve her. Julian studied him for a long moment, then nodded. Good answer. Now sit down and tell me how you plan to help my daughter get her cart back up and running. Ashley woke up in Rhodes King's guest bedroom, because despite confessing their feelings, Rhodes was still a gentleman, to the smell of something burning. She threw on one of Rhodes's oversized hoodies and rushed to the kitchen to find him standing over a smoking pan, looking genuinely distressed. What are you doing? Ashley asked, trying not to laugh. Rhodes turned, his expression sheepish. I was trying to make you breakfast. I don't know. Show you I can take care of you too? Ashley looked at the charred remains of what might have once been eggs. Baby, this is a crime scene. I know how to cook, Rhodes protested. I've been cooking for myself for 8 months. Yeah, bland, unseasoned sadness meals. This? Ashley poked at the blackened eggs with a spatula. This is violence. Rhodes's dimples appeared. Are you making fun of me? Absolutely. Ashley moved him aside with her hip and took over the stove. Sit down. Let me show you how it's done. 20 minutes later, they sat at Rhodes's massive dining table with perfect fluffy eggs, turkey bacon, and cheese grits. Rhodes took a bite and closed his eyes with that expression Ashley was starting to love. Pure appreciation. This is incredible, he said. It's eggs, Rhodes. Your eggs. There's a difference. Ashley felt warmth spread through her chest. You're going to spoil me with all these compliments. Good. That's the plan. Rhodes reached across the table and took her hand. Ashley, I meant what I said yesterday about helping you. I want to do more than just get your cart reopened. What do you mean? I've been thinking about this all night. What if we opened a restaurant together? Your father's recipes, my resources, and business knowledge. We could create something that honors his legacy while building something new. Ashley's breath caught. Rhodes, that's huge. I know, and I'm not saying it has to happen right away, but eventually, I want to build something with you, not just a business, a life. Ashley felt tears prick her eyes. You really mean that? I've never meant anything more. Rhodes squeezed her hand. But first things first. We get your cart reopened. We deal with Sienna if she tries anything else. And we take this one day at a time. Does that work for you? Yeah, Ashley whispered. That works for me. Rhodes stood and pulled her up into his arms, kissing her forehead, her cheeks, finally her lips. I could get used to this, Ashley murmured against his mouth. You better, because I'm not letting you go. Over the next 2 weeks, Ashley fell into a new rhythm. She cooked for Rhodes every morning, and they'd eat breakfast together, talking about everything and nothing. She learned that he was obsessed with boxing but terrible at golf, that he spoke 3 languages but couldn't sing to save his life, that his favorite movie was The Godfather, and he'd watched it 47 times. 47? Ashley asked, laughing. That's oddly specific. I counted, Rhodes said seriously, making her laugh harder. She also learned about his condition in more detail. One evening, as Ashley was preparing dinner, Rhodes came into the kitchen and just watched her work. Can I ask you something? Ashley said, chopping vegetables. Anything. What actually happened? With the poisoning? Rhodes was quiet for so long that Ashley thought he might not answer. Then he sighed and leaned against the counter. Her name was Trinity. We were engaged. I thought she loved me. But she didn't? She loved my money, my status, the life I could give her. When I found out she'd been cheating on me with my former business partner, I ended the engagement. Ashley's hand stilled on the knife. That's awful. It gets worse. She was furious. Said if she couldn't have me, no one would. 2 days later, she invited me to dinner to talk things through. I was stupid enough to go. Rhodes's voice had gone flat, emotionless, like he was reciting facts instead of reliving trauma. She put something in my food. I don't even know what. The doctor said it was some kind of slow-acting poison. If Paxton hadn't noticed I was acting strange and gotten me to the hospital, I might have died. Oh my God, Rhodes. They arrested her. She's serving 5 years for attempted murder. But the damage was done. After that, my body just Rejected everything. Every time I tried to eat food someone else prepared, my mind went back to that dinner. The taste, the betrayal, like the fear. Ashley set down the knife and went to him, wrapping her arms around his waist. Rhodes held her tight, his face buried in her hair. "I'm so sorry that happened to you," Ashley said. "I'm not. Not anymore." "How can you say that?" Rhodes pulled back to look at her. "Because if it hadn't happened, I wouldn't have needed you. And if I didn't need you, I might never have found you." Ashley felt her eyes fill with tears. "That's the most romantic and messed up thing anyone's ever said to me." Rhodes laughed, actually laughed, and kissed her. "I have that effect on people." That night, Ashley understood something important. Rhodes wasn't just healing from his condition. He was healing from betrayal, from trauma, from the fear that love always came with conditions. And she was going to show him it didn't. The next day, Rhodes surprised her. "Get dressed," he said at breakfast. "Something comfortable." "Why?" "Because we're going out." "Out? Like on a date?" Rhodes's dimples appeared. "Is that okay? Or are you too cool to date your boss?" "You're not my boss anymore. You're my—" Ashley paused. "What are you exactly? What do you want me to be?" Ashley pretended to think about it. "My tall, bald, extremely handsome boyfriend who's obsessed with me?" "Accurate. Now get dressed." An hour later, they were at Lincoln Park, and Ashley was staring at ice skates with suspicion. "You brought me ice skating?" "You said you loved it," Rhodes pointed out. "In one of our breakfast conversations. You said your dad used to take you every winter." Ashley's heart melted. He'd remembered. "I haven't skated in years." "All right, Rhodes." "Then this will be interesting." Rhodes handed her the skates with a grin. "Fair warning, I'm terrible at this." He wasn't kidding. Rhodes King, billionaire businessman, owner of 7 restaurants, 6'5" of pure muscle and confidence, could not ice skate to save his life. Ashley watched him wobble onto the ice like a newborn giraffe and burst out laughing. "Stop laughing and help me," Rhodes demanded, gripping the wall for dear life. "I can't. You look so—" Ashley couldn't even finish the sentence. She was laughing so hard. "Ashley, Dave, I will fire you." "You can't fire me. I quit, remember?" Rhodes tried to move toward her and his feet went out from under him. He went down hard, landing on his ass with a thud that echoed across the rink. Ashley skated over gracefully and offered her hand. "Come on, big guy. Yeah, let me show you how it's done." For the next hour, Ashley taught Rhodes how to ice skate. She held his hands, skated backwards in front of him, encouraged him when he fell, which was often, and laughed until her sides hurt. At one point, Rhodes finally got the hang of it and managed to skate a full circle without falling. "I did it," he shouted triumphantly. "You did. Wait, slow down. Rhodes' wall." He crashed into the wall, but he was grinning like a kid on Christmas morning. "That was amazing," he said, breathless. "You literally just crashed." "But I skated first." Ashley skated up to him and kissed him, right there in front of everyone. When they pulled apart, Rhodes was looking at her like she'd hung the moon. "Thank you," he said softly. "For what?" "For making me feel normal. For making me laugh. And for being you." Ashley felt her chest tighten with emotion. "Rhodes King, I think I'm falling in love with you." "Think?" Rhodes raised an eyebrow. "Okay, fine, I know. I love you. Happy?" Rhodes's smile could have powered the city. Extremely. A week later, Rhodes took Ashley golfing. This time, Ashley was the disaster. "How do you hit something so small?" Ashley complained after missing the ball for the 5th time. Rhodes stood behind her, adjusting her grip on the club. "You're tensing up. Relax." "Easy for you to say. You're good at this." "I'm good at everything," Rhodes said with mock arrogance. Ashley turned and whacked him with the golf club. Not hard, just enough to make him laugh. "Assault. I'm calling the police." "You're so dramatic." Rhodes wrapped his arms around her from behind, his hands covering hers on the club. "Here, let me help." Having Rhodes's body pressed against hers, his breath warm on her neck, was not helping Ashley concentrate. "You're doing this on purpose," she muttered. "Doing what?" Rhodes's voice was all innocence, but she could hear the smile in it. "Distracting me. Is it working?" Ashley turned in his arms and kissed his cheek instead of answering. "I'll take that as a yes," Rhodes murmured against her ear. They gave up on golf after that and just walked the course, holding hands, talking about everything. Rhodes told her about his plans for a new restaurant concept, something that combined fine dining with soul food. Ashley told him about her dreams of maybe going to culinary school someday. "You should," Rhodes said. "I'll pay for it." "Rhodes, before you argue, hear me out. It's not charity. It's an investment. You're brilliant, Ashley. You should have the training to match your talent. I can't let you pay for culinary school. That's too much." "Why? I pay for business consultants, marketing experts, executive chefs. Why not invest in the person I plan to build a future with?" Ashley stopped walking. "Build a future with?" Rhodes stopped too, turning to face her. "Yes? Unless you have other plans?" No, no other plans." "Good. Then it's settled. You'll go to culinary school and I'll support you, both emotionally and financially." "You're very bossy." "You love it." Ashley couldn't argue with that. 3 weeks after getting back together, Rhodes called Ashley into his home office. "I have something for you," he said, looking nervous in a way she rarely saw. What is it?" Rhodes handed her a folder. Ashley opened it and found legal documents. "What is this?" "King Collective is opening our 8th location next month, Meridian. It's been delayed because of staffing issues, but we're finally ready." "Okay. I want you to be the general manager." Ashley nearly dropped the folder. "What?" "You heard me. General manager. You'd oversee operations, work with the head chef, manage staff, handle customer relations." "Rhodes, I've never managed a restaurant before." "You've been running your father's cart for months. You understand food, you understand customer service, and you have instincts I can't teach. The rest, you'll learn." Ashley's hands were shaking. This is insane. This is an opportunity. And here's the deal. You do well for 1 year, and I'll transfer partial ownership to you. You'll have a stake in Meridian. It'll be yours. Ashley couldn't breathe. "Why would you do this?" Rhodes stood and came around the desk, taking her hands. "Because you deserve it. Because I believe in you. And because I want to build this empire with you, not just for you." Tears streamed down Ashley's face. "I don't know what to say." "Say yes. Say you'll take a chance on this. On us." Ashley looked down at the folder, at the opportunity literally in her hands, then back up at Rhodes's hopeful, nervous, beautiful face. "Yes," she whispered. "Yes, I'll do it." Rhodes pulled her into his arms, spinning her around until she laughed. "We're going to be amazing together," he said. "We already are," Ashley replied. "Okay, y'all. Rhodes just made Ashley a manager and promised her partial ownership. Comment, "Get your bag, Ashley," if you're proud of how far she's come, but don't get too comfortable. Sienna's been quiet for too long, and you know she's planning something. Hit that subscribe button because things are about to get explosive at Meridian's opening. You do not want to miss what happens next. The next 3 weeks were a whirlwind. Ashley spent her days training with Rhodes and the other King Collective managers. She learned inventory systems, staff management, customer service protocols, and financial reporting. She spent her evenings cooking for Rhodes and falling deeper in love with him. And she spent her nights dreaming about the future they were building together. Her cart had been officially cleared and reopened, but Ashley had made the decision to close it permanently. "It's time," she told her father. "Time to move forward." Julian had cried but agreed. "You're building something bigger now, baby girl. I'm proud of you." The night before Meridian's grand opening, Ashley was a nervous wreck. "What if I mess up?" she asked Rhodes as they lay in his bed. She'd officially moved into the penthouse 2 weeks ago. "You won't," Rhodes said, pulling her closer. "What if the staff doesn't respect me? What if customers complain? What if—" Rhodes kissed her to shut her up. "You're going to be brilliant. I know it. Paxton knows it. Everyone who's met you knows it. You're biased. Extremely. But also correct. Ashley snuggled into his chest, listening to his heartbeat. Thank you for everything. And for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Always, Rhodes murmured, kissing her forehead. Now get some sleep. Tomorrow's your big day. Ashley tried, but sleep didn't come easily. She kept thinking about everything that had changed in just 2 months. From desperate street vendor to restaurant manager. From alone to loved. It felt like a dream. She just hoped nothing would wake her up. The grand opening of Meridian was scheduled for 7 p.m. on a Friday. By 6:30, the restaurant was filled with Chicago's elite. Food critics, investors, business partners, socialites, and influencers. Ashley wore a sleek black dress that Rhodes had bought her. Designer, expensive, and made her feel like she belonged in this world. She stood near the entrance, greeting guests with a confidence she'd learned to fake until it became real. Rhodes appeared at her side, devastatingly handsome in a dark suit. You look beautiful, he murmured. You look pretty good yourself. How are you feeling? Terrified, excited, ready to throw up. Rhodes took her hand and squeezed. You've got this. The first hour went perfectly. Guests raved about the food, the ambiance, the service. Ashley handled a minor crisis with a spilled wine and a missing reservation with grace and efficiency. By 8 p.m., Ashley was starting to relax. That's when Sienna arrived. Ashley saw her first, a flash of white near the entrance. Sienna wore a stunning white designer gown, and her makeup was flawless. But her eyes were red and puffy, like she'd been crying. Rhodes, Ashley said quietly, gripping his arm. Sienna's here. Rhodes turned, his expression immediately hardening. I'll handle this. But before he could move, Sienna was pushing through the crowd, making a scene. Rhodes, she called out, her voice breaking. Rhodes, please. The restaurant went quiet. Every eye turned to watch the drama unfold. Rhodes stepped forward. Sienna, you need to leave. No. Sienna's voice rose, theatrical and desperate. I came to apologize, to both of you. She looked at Ashley with tears streaming down her face. Ashley, I'm so sorry. I was terrible to you. I was jealous and cruel, and I've been so wrong. Ashley blinked, completely thrown. This wasn't what she'd expected. Sienna? Rhodes started. Please, just let me say this. Sienna clutched at Rhodes's arm. I know I messed up. I know I drove you away. But Rhodes, we had 2 years together. 2 years of love and history. Doesn't that mean anything? The crowd was eating this up, watching like it was live theater. Sienna, this isn't the time or place. Then when? Sienna's voice broke on a sob. You won't return my calls. You blocked my number. I'm desperate, Rhodes. I love you. I've always loved you. Ashley felt every eye in the room on them. This was a nightmare. I'm begging you, Sienna continued, actually dropping to her knees in her expensive white dress. Please give me another chance. Please, I'll change. I'll be better. Just don't throw away what we had. Ashley saw the calculation in Sienna's eyes even as she cried. This wasn't genuine remorse. This was a performance designed to humiliate Rhodes and Ashley in front of everyone who mattered. Rhodes clearly saw it too. Get up. Sienna? Not until you hear me out. This is pathetic, Rhodes said coldly. Get up and leave, or I'll have security remove you. Sienna's tears stopped like someone had flipped a switch. Her expression shifted from desperate to venomous in a heartbeat. Pathetic? She hissed. You want to talk about pathetic? How about the fact that you're so obsessed with your little chef here that you can't see what she really is? Sienna, I'm warning you. She made a bet with me, Sienna announced loudly, pulling out her phone. She called me weeks ago and admitted she was going to steal you from me. Ashley's blood ran cold. The phone call. Sienna had recorded it. That's not... Ashley started. But Sienna was already playing the recording. Her phone's speaker turned up loud enough for everyone to hear. And Ashley's voice came through clearly. I was keeping my distance because you were together. But now I'm going to show him exactly who you really are. And when he sees the real you versus the real me, we'll see who he chooses. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Rhodes turned to Ashley, his expression shocked. What is she talking about? It's not what it sounds like, Ashley said desperately. She had just destroyed my cart. She called gloating about it, and I was angry. She admitted she was trying to manipulate you, Sienna pressed. She was playing a game, Rhodes, making you think she cared about you when really she was just trying to win some sick competition. That's not true. Ashley's voice rose. I said that because you sabotaged my business and laughed about it. I was defending myself. But the damage was done. People were whispering, looking at Ashley with suspicion and judgment. Rhodes looked between Ashley and Sienna, his jaw tight. Sienna, you need to leave, now. Oh, I'm not done yet, Sienna said, her voice dripping with venom as she turned to the crowd. You want to know the real reason Rhodes hired Ashley? The real reason she's so special? Don't, Rhodes said, his voice deadly quiet. But Sienna was past caring. It's because Rhodes King, owner of King Collective, the man with the so-called golden palate, can't eat food prepared by anyone except himself and her. The entire restaurant erupted in shocked murmurs. Ashley watched Rhodes's face drain of color. How had Sienna found out? That's right, Sienna continued, triumphant and cruel. He has some psychological condition. He can't eat his own restaurant's food. It can't attend business dinners. It's all been a lie, and she's been his little secret weapon, the only person who can feed him like he's some kind of helpless baby. The murmurs turned into outright conversations. Ashley could hear people saying things like, "Is that true? How can he run restaurants if he can't eat the food? This is insane. Has he even tasted Meridian's menu?" Rhodes stood frozen, his worst nightmare playing out in real time. Food critics were pulling out their phones. Business partners were looking at him with confusion and betrayal. Investors were whispering urgently to each other. Everything Rhodes had built, everything he'd worked for, was crumbling in front of Ashley's eyes. And it was her fault. If she hadn't taken that call from Sienna, if she hadn't said those words, and if she hadn't existed, is it true? Bernard, Rhodes's major investor, stepped forward. Do you have a condition that prevents you from eating? Rhodes's jaw clenched. Ashley could see him trying to figure out how to spin this, how to save his reputation. But Ashley knew better. There was no spinning this. There was only the truth. So she stepped forward, her heart pounding, and did the only thing she could do. She told it. Yes, Ashley said loudly, clearly. It's true. Every eye turned to her. Rhodes has a psychological condition caused by trauma. 2 years ago, his ex-fiancée tried to poison him. Since then, his body has rejected food prepared by others. The crowd was dead silent now. And yes, I'm the only person whose cooking he can eat. I don't know why. The doctors don't know why. But it's true. Ashley could see Rhodes staring at her, but she didn't stop. And you know what else is true? Rhodes King is the most brilliant, dedicated, passionate restaurateur in this city. He's built King Collective from nothing through vision, hard work, and an understanding of food that goes beyond just tasting it. But how can he? Someone started. How can he run restaurants without eating the food? Ashley interrupted. The same way a blind music producer can create hit songs. The same way a deaf choreographer can direct dancers. By understanding the fundamentals at a level most people never reach. She turned to look at Rhodes, whose eyes were suspiciously bright. Rhodes King knows flavor profiles, cooking techniques, and ingredient combinations better than anyone I've ever met. He can smell a dish and tell you what's wrong with it. He can watch a chef cook and spot mistakes before they happen. He doesn't need to taste everything to know quality. Ashley turned back to the crowd. And yes, I help him. I cook for him. I taste things when he needs a second opinion. But that doesn't make him weak or a fraud. It makes him human. It makes him someone who experienced trauma and found a way to survive it and still build an empire. Her voice was shaking now, but she pushed through. You want to judge him for having a condition he can't control? Fine. But don't you dare question his expertise or his dedication or his right to be in this industry. Because Rhodes King has more talent and integrity in his pinky finger than most people in this room have in their entire bodies. Ashley's chest was heaving, tears streaming down her face. And Sienna? You want to know if I was trying to steal him from you? You're damn right I was. But not because of some game or bet. Because I fell in love with him. Because he's brilliant and kind and he treats me like I matter. Because he sees me as more than just some street vendor or chef or whatever label you want to put on me. She turned to Rhodes, her voice softening. I fell in love with you because you're the best man I've ever met. And if everyone in this room can't see that, then they're blind. Silence. Complete, utter silence. Then, from the back of the room, someone started clapping. Ashley turned to see Julian Dave in his wheelchair being pushed in by Juno. He was clapping with his good hand against his knee. "That's my girl," Julian called out. "You tell him, I baby." A few people laughed. Then Paxton started clapping. Then one of the line cooks. Then a server. Slowly, like a wave, applause began to spread through the room. Not everyone was clapping. Some people were still whispering, still judging, still leaving. But enough people were clapping that it mattered. Rhodes stepped forward, ignoring everyone else, his eyes only on Ashley. "You just defended me in front of everyone," he said, his voice rough with emotion. "Of course I did. You told them the truth. You risked your reputation for mine. Rhodes." He cupped her face in his hands. "I love you. God, Ashley, I love you so much." Then he kissed her, right there in front of everyone. Investors, critics, guests, Sienna. When they pulled apart, the room had erupted in a mix of applause, awes, and continued whispered conversations. Rhodes turned to address the crowd, his arm around Ashley's waist. "What Ashley said is true. All of it. I have a condition. I've been managing it the best way I know how. And yes, that's included keeping it private because I was afraid, terrified, of exactly this reaction." He looked around the room, meeting eyes. "If that makes you lose confidence in King Collective, I understand. If you want to pull your investments or write negative reviews or spread gossip, that's your choice. But I want you to know something. Every restaurant in my collection has been built on excellence. Every chef I've hired has been chosen for their skill. Every menu has been crafted with care. My condition doesn't change any of that." Bernard stepped forward. "Rhodes, I've known you for 7 years. I've watched you build this empire, and I've always wondered how you had such high standards." Rhodes tensed, waiting for the blow. "Now I understand," Bernard continued. "You work twice as hard as everyone else because you have to. You pay attention to details others miss because you can't rely on taste alone. You've built success despite impossible odds." He extended his hand. "My investment stands. I'm with you." Rhodes shook his hand, looking stunned. Miranda Castellano, the food critic, spoke up next. "I'm still writing about this, Rhodes. But not the story Sienna wanted. I'm writing about resilience, about adapting to challenges, about building something remarkable despite trauma." One by one, people made their choices. Some left, their faith shaken, but more stayed, their respect deepened. Sienna stood alone near the entrance. Her plan backfired, her power gone. "You'll regret this," she hissed at Rhodes. "Both of you." "The only thing I regret," Rhodes said calmly, "is wasting 2 years on someone who never really cared to understand me." Sienna's face crumpled, and for a moment, Ashley almost felt sorry for her. Then Sienna straightened, her expression hard as stone. "You two deserve each other. A broken man and a girl who thinks she's something she's not." "You're right," Ashley said. "We do deserve each other." Sienna left, and Ashley hoped it would be the last time she ever saw her. The rest of the evening passed in a blur. Some guests left, but many stayed, and the energy shifted from scandal to celebration. Julian wheeled up to Rhodes, looking him up and down appraisingly. "Ah, you made my daughter cry," Julian said. Rhodes looked panicked. "Sir, Good tears, I hope?" Rhodes relaxed slightly. "I certainly try to avoid the bad kind." "You better." Julian's expression softened. "But seriously, son, thank you for seeing her worth, for giving her opportunities, for loving her the way she deserves." "I'm the lucky one, sir." "You got that right." Julian winked at Ashley. "Now when are you going to make an honest woman out of my daughter?" Daddy! Ashley's face heated. Rhodes's dimples appeared. When she's ready, sir. But soon, if I have anything to say about it. Ashley's heart stopped. Rhodes. Too soon? He asked, his eyes twinkling. Maybe give me a minute to recover from that disaster? Fair enough. But later that night, after the restaurant had closed and the staff had cleaned up, Rhodes took Ashley's hand. Come with me. He led her to the rooftop of the building where Meridian was located. Chicago's skyline sparkled around them, the city alive with light and possibility. Ashley Dave, Rhodes said, turning to face her. 2 months ago, my car broke down in front of your food cart. I was starving, literally and figuratively. I had everything and nothing. Success without joy, money without meaning. Rhodes, let me finish, he said gently. You fed me, not just with food, but with laughter and hope and love. You saw past the money and the restaurants and the reputation to the man underneath. The broken, scared man who was barely surviving. Tears were streaming down Ashley's face. You defended me tonight when you didn't have to. You risked everything for me. And I know it's fast. I know we've only been together for 2 months, but Ashley, I know you're it for me. Rhodes got down on one knee, and Ashley's hand flew to her mouth. I don't have a ring yet. That seemed presumptuous, but I have a question. Rhodes, will you marry me? Will you build a life with me? Will you let me spend every day proving I deserve the incredible gift of your love? Ashley was crying so hard she could barely see him. You crazy, wonderful, perfect man, she sobbed. Yes, I'll marry you. Rhodes stood and swept her into his arms. When they finally broke apart, both laughing and crying, Rhodes said, We should probably tell your father. Oh God, he's going to be impossible. I'm counting on it. The ceremony was beautiful, held in an elegant ballroom overlooking Lake Michigan, filled with flowers and candles and everyone who mattered. But Ashley barely saw any of it. She only had eyes for Rhodes, standing at the altar in a perfectly tailored tux, looking at her like she was the answer to every prayer he'd ever whispered. Julian walked her down the aisle. Actually walked, with his cane, refusing help, determined to do this on his own. When he placed Ashley's hand in Rhodes's, he whispered, You take care of my girl. With my life, sir, Rhodes promised. The ceremony was a blur of vows and tears and laughter. But when the officiant said, You may kiss your bride, and Rhodes pulled Ashley into his arms, time seemed to stop. I love you, he whispered against her lips. I love you too, Ashley whispered back. Then they kissed, and the room erupted in applause. And Ashley's heart felt so full she thought it might burst. Later, as they danced their first dance as husband and wife, Ashley whispered, Did you ever imagine this? When I was basically harassing you to buy my noodles? Rhodes laughed, his dimples showing. Honestly? No, I thought you were annoying. Rhodes! A beautiful, persistent, absolutely irresistible kind of annoying. Better. Rhodes pulled her closer, his expression turning serious. But in all honesty, the moment I tasted your food and didn't get sick, some part of me knew you were special, knew you were going to change everything. And now I get to spend the rest of my life being changed by you. And there's nothing I want more. They kissed, swaying to the music, surrounded by everyone who loved them. About 1 year later, Ashley stood in the kitchen of Monroe and King, the restaurant she and Rhodes had opened together, combining Julian's legacy recipes with Rhodes's fine dining expertise, and surveyed her domain. The restaurant had been an instant success. A perfect 5-star rating from the Chicago Food Alliance, rave reviews from critics, a 6-month waiting list for reservations. But more than that, it felt like home. Chef King, your 2 o'clock is here, one of her sous chefs called out. Ashley smiled. She still wasn't used to being called Chef King, but she loved it every time. She walked out to the dining room to find Rhodes sitting at their usual table, looking devastating as always in a navy suit. Mr. King? Ashley greeted him formally, though her eyes were sparkling. Your usual? Actually, Rhodes said, I'm standing and pulling her into his arms despite the staff watching. I was thinking we could celebrate. Celebrate what? Rhodes's hand moved to her still flat stomach, his dimples appearing. The fact that in about 7 months, we're going to need a high chair at this table. Ashley's eyes widened. You know? How do you know? I just took the test this morning. Paxton may have seen the pregnancy test box in the bathroom trash and immediately told me. That man cannot keep a secret to save his life. Rhodes laughed and kissed her. So it's true? We're having a baby? We're having a baby, Ashley confirmed, tears in her eyes. Rhodes picked her up and spun her around, right there in the middle of the restaurant, while the staff applauded and cheered. I love you, Rhodes said, setting her down but not letting go. You, I and our restaurant, and our life, and this baby we're going to have. I love you too, Ashley said, even though you literally cannot keep a surprise to save your life. In my defense, this is the best surprise I've ever had. That evening, they told Julian together. He cried, happy tears, and immediately started planning how he was going to spoil his grandchild. Later, as Ashley and Rhodes lay in bed in the penthouse that had become their home, Ashley thought about how far she'd come. From a scared girl trying to save her father's food cart to a successful chef, restaurant owner, and soon-to-be mother. From struggling to thriving. What are you thinking about? Rhodes asked, running his fingers through her hair. Just everything. How one broken-down car changed my entire life. Best mechanical failure of my life. Rhodes? Ashley said quietly. Thank you for breaking down in front of my cart that day. Rhodes laughed, the sound rumbling through his chest. Thank you for being annoying enough to make me try your food. We're both ridiculous. We're both in love. That too. And as Ashley drifted off to sleep in her husband's arms, in their home, with their baby on the way and their future bright with possibility, she thought about the lesson she'd learned through all of this. Love doesn't come when you're ready for it. It doesn't come when you're perfect, or when your life is together, or when you've checked all the boxes. Love could come when you're broken and struggling and barely holding on. And when real love comes, the kind that sees your scars and your flaws and your mess and says, yes, this, exactly this, you don't question it. You don't overthink it. You don't let pride or fear or other people's opinions get in the way. You just hold on tight and let it change you. Because love isn't about being perfect together. It's about being perfectly imperfect together. Thank you for joining Rhodes and Ashley on their journey. If this story touched your heart, please like, comment, and subscribe. Share it with someone who needs to hear that their story isn't over. It's just beginning. And remember, you are enough, exactly as you are. The right person will see it. The right opportunity will come. The right life is waiting. You just have to be brave enough to take that first bite.